So am I looking at you, or am I looking at the camera? The
Try
camera,
looking
or
at
do
me.
you? Okay, yeah.
I might look at the
Yeah, that's
camera
right. Yeah,
and
that's
stuff.
good.
It's all
Yeah.
good.
How did it come together?
Yeah.
A lot of discussions, but effectively I've been working with Craig and Sally from The Edge for the last sort of 3 years on and off on things. So it was a bit of a team approach really, and slowly we agreed on how it was going to happen and who was going to do what. And then I went out and found things that flicked through my notebook and found things that I really loved that I'd seen in the last couple of years. So effectively that's how it's worked.
So it really was a matter of going, oh man, if I could do a festival.
Yeah, it's totally driven by passion. This is not a festival about dumbing anything down. This is really made for people who are really engaged in the world, and it's the best and most kind of engaging stuff that is around, and it's not trying to define itself other than just being exactly what it is. And I think that's quite unusual to find, to just take stuff that is made independently and is made on its own terms. And all of these works were made on their own without the support of institutions. So I wonder if that is categorical. Yes, I think, there's a couple that sort of peripherally had some input, but basically they were all made in bedrooms and church halls and on the smell of an oily rag, and that's what binds them together, because effectively that's where the most innovative stuff gets made. It can't get made in big places. It has to be really deeply personal.
Right, and that's kind of interesting because it's sort of the debate about state funding in New Zealand, funding of arts, whether it be theatre or anything else, is always such a core of the debate. To find stuff that isn't actually, for the most part, hasn't relied on. Is really cool.
And it's a boring debate too. I don't, because everyone has problems. Every country has problems with how they do that kind of thing. This is great to work on a real level of devotion to the artwork, and all of these artists have been devoted to their form for some time. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you winnow it down? Because I assume you had like a long list, and that had to become a short list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it had to be a certain scale to work, and we've got this really unusual situation where we've got 4 venues and one roof, which is amazing. And so we had to get things that would fit that, because that's a great opportunity. That never happens in festivals in Auckland. So it was really cool to have this venue to be able to do that, and so we went, right, let's really get things that are going to work here.
Excellent. The festival feels like something that should be happening. It's been waiting for a long time to happen actually. The fact of, people are doing these kind of performances anyway.
Yeah.
To bring them under a banner of some sort, and with a bit of oomph behind it.
Yeah, sometimes it just takes the people taking a bit of initiative to really spark things off. If you think that the Fringe Festival in Auckland has only been running for 2 years, and already it's a real integral part of the social calendar, it's actually, that's going to go for a long time, and there's a lot of support for it. And it was just because a few people, and mostly people at the Edge, put their hands up and said, okay, we'll do it. Let's do it. And that's what it takes. It just takes someone to stand up and say, actually, there's some cool stuff going on. Let's just name it something and put it all on. So finding the work that is the easy bit, really. It's out there, and it's very interesting and going on anyway.
Yeah. I want to talk about some of the pieces and performances that are in the festival. So far, of course, it's been the first night. The only thing I've seen is Cool Cutter in a Box.
Yep.
Can you tell me about that? How did you come across that?
I saw that in Holland because I was travelling around with my own performance, and I came across it completely by accident, really. Someone said it was a cool show. I went there with zero expectation of what it was, and was just really charmed. I thought, that's a really charming and clever idea, and it sort of... I just like the fact that they were presenting it completely on their own terms, and it's a one-on-one performance. I haven't been to that many one-on-one performances, but that's sort of an extraordinary thing to go to. It's it's cool. It's a treat. It's something that I will always remember, just because of that situation.
The one-on-one performance thing is just always sort of does my head in, because I don't know. Unfortunately, I'm always going, economically, how does that work? How are you making that work? But
it doesn't matter. I mean, that's what's fantastic about art, that it'll always work against the odds. And performing arts is always going to have that problem. That you're talking about people. You're not talking about cassette boxes that you're sending off to places. You're talking about people. So, but then that's what I love about it. It's sort of ephemeral, and it's difficult, and it's not. You can't mass produce performing arts. You've got to be there, and you've got to see it, and that's really good. Just a little performance going on behind us there.
Lovely. Cool Katoa struck me as having seen some audience reactions. Nobody's having the same reaction, which I think is really cool. And everybody's coming out of it sort of just going, I need to process this.
Yeah, right.
Which I think is really interesting, because...
I was stood outside for a while and just watched people smiling when they came out. I thought that was really... it's something sort of a bit sentimental about it, actually, because it's sort of sentimental and old-fashioned in some way, because it's just making a personal connection with someone, and that's kind of, I don't know, I find that charming and simple. Yeah,
for me it was it was more about knowing there's a script.
Yeah.
Which would be the case if I want to get called at home by a telemarketer anyway. They've all got scripts.
Yeah.
And going, is this off script or is this on script?
Yeah, right.
And I found so it was real. It wasn't an immersive experience, but it was still a really strange experience anyway.
Yeah,
and a worthwhile one.
I think almost every performance in this festival plays with that fine line of being on the script and off the script, and how to actually connect with people. Being on the script and then leaving it, and I mean the great thing being in an audience is you don't know what the script is anyway.
Yeah.
So it's all a mystery. You're always hearing it for the first time unless you've seen it before. But
that tension's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you sit
I
in there,
agree. Yeah. I mean Sean Curran's works like that. It's amazing.
Okay.
You there's a script, and then you're sort of going, he's showing us the script. Is that because he wants us to know what's happening? Is he actually going to do it? It's great.
Yeah, there seems to be a real move to get the audience involved.
Yeah.
Just in general, in theatre in general, and performance in general.
Can
you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I reckon in the last 15 years, live performance has really gone hard into that area. It's the area that you can't ever do in a movie or on television. There's been all sorts of attempts at interactivity with television and movies. And they almost always fail, because connecting with other people and just social interaction, you've got to be there. Sure, you can do virtual stuff, and that's kind of satisfying as well, and there's definitely a place for that, and that comes into theatre a lot as well. But live performance has figured out, hey, people actually want an experience. They've got off their asses and come down here. Now they want to go down into the basement and look at the weird machine that goes jigga, jigga, jigga.
Yeah.
And the more that we can actually take them away from that predictable black box and into that space, the better. And I see a common thread of a lot of performance that's doing that. It's particularly dance, particularly theatre and performance art. Yeah.
One of the interesting things about working on this for me has been, my first instinct when I'm looking at something is to go, so what is it? Is it a dance piece? Is it is it theatre, strictly speaking? And then sort of realising that that I can't do that because all the stuff is in itself so diverse, just formally anyway. And then going, what a stupid thing! Sort of coming to the realisation, well, who cares what you call it?
Yeah.
I mean, is that kind of like an end result, or that you'd hope the festival would, I don't know, give to its viewers, to the people who come along? Yeah,
I mean,
because
personally, when I cook dinner, I often don't know what I'm cooking. I'll go, these are the ingredients, I'll put them together, and the moment you go, this is going to be a spaghetti bolognese, it didn't quite work out, you kind of go, well, but what is it? What is it that I've made? And I think that when you approach anything like that, whether it's a book or a film or your own toenails, if you just take things for what they are, then suddenly the field of possibilities opens up enormously. So for me, that's a very instinctive and natural thing to do. And so I guess while I do think that that's a real trend, definitely the lines between the disciplines are blurring, I also think that it's a natural thing that happens as things progress.
Yeah, interesting. The festival is, of course, in an ecosystem, if you like, of other stuff happening in Auckland, in the country, and in the world. Finally, I mean, you've travelled, Stephen. What are your thoughts about the local scene as far as performing is concerned? Like the stuff you do and your friends do and the stuff you've seen here.
Oh, cool. I mean,
are we healthy at the moment?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's great stuff happening. I don't know that things are really different in any place. I mean, you go somewhere like Singapore, and there's not much of a subversive element, and that's really important to any society, to have a subversive element. So you do get things that are kind of held back, and sometimes economically things are held back. But people are people, and instinctively, and also we have a way of being able to talk to people all over the world. So I think actually New Zealand stuff's pretty current, and the best of it is current, and it's got a freshness because it's left alone more than if you were in the middle of a busy continent. It's hard, isn't it? Because I'm a New Zealander, I relate to New Zealanders best. I think that we culturally have it really sussed because we're not arrogant about our attitudes. We sort of go, oh, this is how I feel, and I get on with it. And that's what I really love about our New Zealand performance. It just sort of goes, well, this is what I am, and this is it.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be anything else.
Yeah.